in here, Anthony, great guy. And his dad is always awesome. In all the shows we did a couple of shows together. So speaking of jokes, Michigan has self-imposed punishments, essentially to get ahead of the NCAA ruling that will probably happen next off season. Essentially, what they're trying to do is get ahead of it now. They're trying to limit the amount of games that everybody gets later. So if they take 3 games, the idea is if Harbaugh takes 3 games now, then he might only have to take 3 games later if he stays, which I don't even know if he's going to stay. But here's what so here's what I'm going to show this graphic here real quick. So here's here's what's happening. So because Harbaugh's taking 3 games and Sharon Moore is taking 1 game, which by the way the NCAA said that's fine. That's going to be his punishment. So Sharon Moore is good. Wow. He's good. So he's taking his 1 game, which means that game 1 is going to be coached by Jesse Minter, defensive coordinator, and Kirk Campbell is going to be the play caller. Okay? But we're not done, because I predicted on the Michigan Wolverines Live 100th episode, the special episode we had, full of guest stars and everything else, and Mark calling in from Big Ten Media Days, I predicted that they could make a mockery of everything and have musical chairs head coaches. So not only are they going to have Jesse Minter coach game 1, but then game 2, they're splitting, and Jay Harbaugh is taking the first half of UNLV.
Oh my God.
Mike Hart's taking the second half of UNLV, and then Sharon Moore, once he's back and he's back in the offense again, he's going to be fighting against Bowling Green. But wait, we're not done. Hold on, because there's another graphic, and this one might even be better. Okay. Okay. So not only is Michigan doing that, but Michigan is promoting Ben Herbert, who's our strength and conditioning coach, and I would argue he's Michigan's Mickey Marotti in terms of what he's been able to do as strength and conditioning coach. But the best one of all, Daddy's back. Jim Harbaugh has hired his dad, Jack Harbaugh, who, by the way, has years of head coaching experience as an assistant for these games. So because with Jim out, and with Sharon Moore taking a self-imposed game, they have the room, and now they're bringing in these associate and assistant head coaches. So this is a straight up mockery. I really do think they're trolling at this point, but there is a glimmer of Harbaugh wants to give his assistants head coaching experience. There is that too. Harbaugh's always been about his assistants. During the COVID year, he took his bonus money, and even though he was taking half his salary as well, he also distributed his bonus money and gave it all to his assistants that year. So he's all about helping his assistants, getting his assistants vital head coaching experience. And if you remember, Ryan Day was interim head coach before he was officially made the head coach the next year. So I think that they're all kind of auditioning for the prospect of being Michigan's head coach in 2024.
I mean,
possibly.
I can see it. I get it. But the difference is, here you go, yet again, Ohio State and Michigan fall in the same situation, and Ohio State takes care of the situation better than Michigan. Did Ohio State go and pull the stupid carousel move that Michigan's pulling? No. They said, Ryan Day, you're going to be the next coach. It was already determined that Ryan Day was going to be the next coach. And I honestly think, we'll never know, but I honestly think Greg Schiano just didn't want to be at Ohio State anymore. He really wanted to focus on family. And then he ends up back at Rutgers. Good for him. He's doing a good job over there. But I mean, this is an absolute mockery. And You know what? It is honestly the most Jim Harbaugh way for Jim Harbaugh to leave
Yeah.
the university. I mean, I'm sorry, but there is no one, in my opinion, on that staff currently that is head coach worthy. I mean, yes, would it be cool to see the former running back who freaking tore it up outside of the Ohio State game be the next head coach for Michigan? Absolutely. You're going to start this cycle of former players being the head coach? Cool. I mean, you're going to bring in the name brands by bringing in the top name people, but guess what? It doesn't always work. Go ask Nebraska. I don't
Yeah.
think Mike Hart's going to be worthy enough.
Well, yeah, I just think, given so the NCAA with this whole cheeseburger gate situation, they had to come out and say it's not about this is how bad they were losing the PR battle. They had to come out and say it's
It's
not
not
about
about
a
it.
cheeseburger, and that's when you know you've lost the PR battle,
Yeah.
when you have to do that. And yet, so I think that Jim Harbaugh is and Ward Manuel and Santa Ono are making a bit of are having a bit of fun here, but they're also giving their assistants head coaching experience. I don't hate it. I predicted it might happen. I thought it would either be that or Jesse Minter would coach would coach all of them.
Yeah. I
But
mean,
makes sense.
here's the thing to me, and you make a good point with Jesse Minter. I think Jesse Minter, if Harbaugh leaves after the season, I think Jesse Minter will be the one to be tapped on the shoulder to be the next guy. And I think it would do Jesse justice to more or less leave the guys that he has on the staff. Don't pull a Ryan Day and
Right.
Greg Schiano situation. Whether Ryan forced him out or Greg decided on his own he was going to leave, we'll never know again. But don't have something like that happen. You know, if Jesse Minter's the one, cool. Leave Mike Hart on your staff. Leave everybody on your staff and continue to build and grow on the tradition and I can't find the word. The continue to build
legacy.
Yes, the legacy and everything that you have.
There's only one issue with that, Buckeye Mike, and the issue is if Michigan does win the national championship or at least is in the national championship game, which means they have to win a playoff game to get there, then most likely all of the people you mentioned are getting jobs. And I mean head coaching level jobs, or at the very least for OC level jobs, where they get to be the sole OC of the entire program. And I'm talking about Mike Hart. I'm talking about Kirk Campbell. I'm talking about, like, 2024 might be a brand new staff, or at least a lot of new people. But remember, Kirk Campbell, for example, had years at Old Dominion, at Penn State. A lot of them have had years elsewhere, and they know people who would be a good addition to their staff if they were the head coach of Michigan. Or I think Mike Hart could get a head coaching role as well. If he isn't the head coach of Michigan, I think he could get a head coaching role elsewhere. So if Jim Harbaugh goes, regardless of if he stays or goes after this year,
should I stay or should I go?
And honestly, I think it comes down to the Raiders giving him enough money and full control. If the Raiders give him full control and enough money, their buddies, him and Mark Davis, he's probably gone. And he did turn down the Broncos, but that's because it was kind of a crappy job. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I mean, just overall, this whole thing, you know, they're good topics. They're lighthearted topics. Both of these topics are a joke. These first two, an absolute joke. I mean, you waited to the last minute to name your starting QB, and now this. I mean, yeah, cool. You're having fun with the PR because you won the PR battle, like you said. But I mean, you're kind of making a mockery of the university in a way.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a way to look at it where it's I don't know if it's a mockery. I think it's is it ridiculous it on its face, sure, but there are good reasons to do it. And you know, this is Harbaugh's MO, as you said. Remember, he had JJ and Cade both start a game, and you know, that worked out pretty well because JJ was named the starter and they, you know, uh ran the table until, you know, running into the TCU gauntlet. So I mean, you know, that worked out pretty okay. Um, but yeah, I'm excited for to talk about these games 'cause I think it's going to be there's really a bellwether of how the seasons are going to go.
Absolutely.